Hello y'all, this is Legacy of Carolus Rex, a Hearts of Iron 4 mod that takes place in a timeline where Sweden won the Great Northern War. What if Charles XII of Sweden, also known as Carolus Rex, didn't die, and Sweden became a superpower? We're on the country select screen now, and there are some notable states here, and they are Nation Française, the Russian SFSR, the Swedish Empire, the United Kingdom, the Kingdom of Prussia, the Empire of Japan, the Austrian Empire, the Kingdom of Norway, the Italian Social Republic, the Northern Italian Confederation, the Southern German Confederation, the Republic of Hanover, the German Workers' State, the Rhenish Republic, and the Kingdom of Romania. What features does this modification have? Let's find out and go to the political tab first. And I am playing this on the Battle of the Bosporus version for Hearts of Iron 4, since that's the last one that's kind of updated for. And as a recording, if I go by the Steam Workshop page, this mod as a whole, Legacy of Carolus Rex, has apparently been abandoned by its developer, which is unfortunate. But moving on, continuing from just going on a different topic now. This, well, we have laws and government. That category seems a little different here. I mean, we have ministers. That's different. There's not like standard political advisors like there would be in vanilla HOI4, so that's something new. And let's go to ideologies now. And the minister system seems to be the only new thing with laws and government and military staff and research and production, that section of the political tab. But going over ideologies, here we have Orthodox, Marxist, Revolutionary Socialist, Social Democrat, Liberal, and Conservative. I think there's a couple more ideologies. Let me see here. I think there is Classical Fascism, which it says here, yeah, it is classical fascism or classic fascism, but there's also esoteric fascism as its own ideology, and my evidence for that is that one of these advisors they can only be in charge if the current ruling party is esoteric fascist, among other things. Reactionary is also its own ideology in this mod. And we'll go to the tech tree now. Here we have the standard Battle for the Bosporus HOI4 tech tree, it seems. Yes. And I'm just going to go up and down here just checking out the armor. There's the STRV, just a bunch of Swedish tank designs, really. Then artillery, go through that. That seems about right. Land doctrine, naval doctrine, naval and naval doctrine. Air. This is before the By Blood Alone air rework, of course. And we got some interesting jet designs here. Moving on to, well, going to air doctrine, we have engineering. That's about normal. That's all normal for vanilla HOI4 as it was during Battle of the Bosporus. And yeah, and with all that looked at, let's go ahead and start looking at the nations of the world. We'll start in South America. And here we have Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru. Oh, Brazilian Socialist Republic. That's interesting. We got Bolivia, Paraguay, Argentina, Uruguay, Chile. So the biggest, and we got the European powers in, well, some European territories in northeastern South America. And the biggest different from our timelines, our timeline South America in 1936 is, I would say, the socialist Brazil. Well, the Orthodox Marxist Brazil, more accurately. And let's go over to Africa now. And Spain is in Morocco. Nation Française is in Algeria and Tunisia and parts of West Africa, especially Mauritania and portions of the Sahara. The Swedish Empire is really in West Africa, like Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, the Ivory Coast. They're there. We got Liberia. There's the United Kingdom, also in West Africa. The United Kingdom has a huge presence in Africa as a whole, and there's a tiny Kingdom of Egypt, but they are a puppet of the British, it seems. There's Ethiopia. Ethiopia exists And Kingdom of Italy is in Eritrea. We have the Belgian Congo. There's Spain in the middle Congo. Portugal's in Mozambique and Angola. Yes. And the Swedish have Southwest Africa under their control. Interesting. And speaking of just generally South Africa, here's South Africa, and they are a subject of the British. They're a puppet of the British. And the Swedes are on Madagascar. Fascinating. And we'll go over to Australia. Australia seems to be, they're a subject of the British. New Zealand, subject of the British. Here's the Dutch East Indies, who is communist, and they're a puppet of the Dutch. Although, with that said, the very intriguing thing here is that they're Marxist. And that's just interesting because the government of the Netherlands is conservative. They're not Marxist in any way. And we got British Malaya, who's also Marxist, and British Malaya is a subject of the British. Just, I don't know what's going on there, but it's something that exists. We have the Philippines, subject of the USA. There's Indochina, who's independent. We got Siam, Yunnan, the Guangxi clique. I think this mod, not to get too off topic here, but it is related to the mod. The mod, its development was paused by its original developer. That it may have got taken down, I'm not too sure there, or they took it off the workshop. Then someone else took up the project, and then they abandoned it. And now we're in the current situation as a recording where the mod is just sitting on the workshop and it hasn't been updated since Battle for the Bosporus came out. Well, yeah, it has not been updated to the latest DLC. But in China now, we have the Guangxi clique in Yunnan, and they're fighting the Chinese Republic, who's fighting nearly all of China. And here's the Republic of China. So there's two republics in China, it looks like. Yes. And here's the Shandong clique. They're fighting the Chinese Republic. Shanxi fighting the Chinese Republic. Ma clique fighting the Chinese Republic. And there's the state of Xinjiang. We got the Fangtian clique in Manchuria. And there is the Shaibara no Nihon Shokuminchi. And they're a subject of the Empire of Japan. And this puppet here is controlling Orduril, which could be seen normally as, I suppose, Vladivostok. They control that area there. And Japan just has a presence in that part of Asia. Going more towards Central Asia now, there is Mongolia, the Kazakh SSR, who is part of the Third International Faction. And south of them, we have Afghanistan, the British Raj. They dominate India, and the British are in Ceylon. Okay, and in the Himalayas, we have Tibet, Nepal, and Bhutan just doing their thing. Tibet has an interesting flag. And going more toward the Middle East, there is Persia, the Julan Commune, and they are part of the Third International Faction. We have Kurdistan, who's independent. There is Assyria, who's in a faction called the Damascus-Baghdad Axis, and that consists of Assyria and Greater Syria. Interesting, just quite the combo there to team up. And there is now the Kingdom of Kuwait. They're a subject of the British. Here's Nij in, say, the Arabian Peninsula. Also in the Arabian Peninsula, we have Hijaz. They're part of the British faction. There's the Yemen Arab Republic. The UK is in the Arabian Peninsula. And there's Muscat. And is that about it in this area, in this part of the world? Almost. We have Turkey, and they have lost. They do not control. They do not really have Constantinople or Istanbul, and they don't have much of, say, Western Anatolia. And notably, the British have control over the Aegean Islands and Cyprus. And at this point, let's go into Europe, and we'll start with the Russian. Oh, I forgot to mention this. We have Siberia. Big independent Siberia. But after that, we have the Russian SFSR, who leads a faction called the Third International, and that's them. The Kazakh SSR and the Julan Commune. Let's go into Eastern Europe. We'll come back to the Swedes in a moment. We have the Ukrainian Free State, who is part of the League of Warsaw, and they have some kind of deal going on with the Russian SFSR in terms of military access and a non-aggression pact. Also in the League of Warsaw is the Ruthenian Republic and its leader, the Polish-lithuanian Commonwealth. So the PLC leads the League of Warsaw. Then to their north in the Baltics, we have the Duchy of Latvia, who is a subject of the Swedish Empire. Then above them is the Royal Swedish Protectorate of Estonia. And going more into Germany, Germany is very divided. They did not really unite in this timeline, it seems. We have the Kingdom of Prussia, who has a faction called the Northern German Confederation. That faction is Prussia and the Republic of Hanover. Then below Prussia and Saxony is the German Workers' State, and below them is the Southern German Confederation. And in Austria is the Austrian Empire, and they lead the Donau Monarchy faction and have multiple subjects, and they are the Kingdom of Bohemia as well. They also have the Kingdom of Hungary and the Imperial Protectorate of Croatia. And who else is in that faction? The Northern Italian Confederation is. Interesting. So going into the Balkans, we got a Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia is not very large in this timeline and legacy of Carolus Rex, isn't it? We have the Republic of Montenegro, Albania, Bulgaria, the Kingdom of Romania. Here's Greece, and we'll go into Italy now. We have Switzerland first and foremost. So not really in Italy, but I just wanted to get them included, just say how they're doing and just see what their situation is. But going into Italy, we got the Northern Italian Confederation, who has their previously stated relationship with the Austrians. There's the Socialist Italian Union, and we have the Italian Social Republic, who dominates Rome and Naples and Sicily. Then there is the Kingdom of Italy, who's part of the British faction, and they seem to be limited to Sardinia, which must be quite the interesting situation for them. And let's go into more of Western Europe. We have the Rhenish Republic, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Nation Francais. It's essentially the French nation when you translate it to English, I think, and they lead a faction called Entente Européenne, or the European Entente, I guess, would be the translated name of that, and that is France and the Italian Social Republic. That is the two faction members there, and below France we have Spain and Portugal and the Iberian Peninsula, and across from mainland Europe we have the United Kingdom, and they lead a massive faction called the British Commonwealth, with many different states involved there. And going over to Scandinavia now, I can't forget that for sure. Here we have the Swedish Empire, and they lead a faction called Dominium Maris Baltici, and that is Dominion of the Baltic Sea. That's its name in English, basically. And that faction consists of Sweden and all their puppets, and their puppets include Latvia and Estonia, but there's also the Kingdom of Norway and Denmark. And it should be noted the Swedish Empire controls Iceland and Greenland. And going into North America, we have the British on Labrador and Newfoundland, not really surprising. Dominion of Canada, they're doing whatever. Here's the United States, led by FDR. And there's Mexico to their south. And this seems like normal borders from our timelines, 1936 for the most part, except I think the Swedes may control some territory. Or no, maybe not. I was confusing their country colors. But here in Central America, we have Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and in the Caribbean there is Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and that's it for the Caribbean and Central America. And this has been Legacy of Carolus Rex. If you like this mod, you can check it out in the video description. The link to it is there. What do you think of it? Tell me in the comments section below. And after you do that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications.